Good morning and welcome to episode 0.12 of Mostly Linux on Mostly Gaming. Today it's back to Solus. We're going to take a look at the Overwatch League, Microsoft's next-gen console plans, really explore whether there was an EA Gamer Backlash, our game giveaway finalists, and we're going to take a look at the best of E3 2018 right here on Mostly Linux on Mostly Gaming. Let's roll. And we're back. Thanks for joining us here for the 12th episode of our perpetually beta podcast, Mostly Gaming. This week, I think you're gonna notice that we're back to Solus. Earlier on in the week, I tweeted out that I had made the move to Manjaro Linux, and I said, let's see if it sticks. Well, it's been less than a week, and I'm back to Solus. This time, I'm running the Plasma desktop environment on Solus. This is a trial version, an early release version of Plasma for Solus, available only to the Patreons of the project. Why go back to Solus? And what was wrong with Manjaro? Well, for those of you that are not into Linux, this might be a little esoteric, let's say, but in Linux there is the kernel, which is basically the core component of the operating system. It's what makes each type of Linux compatible to the other, though nothing that I'm saying is definitive, because of course things like Android are also running Linux and they are not at all compatible with other distributions. But broadly speaking, the kernel is what communicates to the machine. And so everything on top of the kernel communicates to the kernel, and then the kernel communicates with the machine in kind of the most basic terms. So the kernels are there, and then on top of the kernels, you have a whole bunch of other applications. Sometimes they are called GNU or GNU, as the English like to say. And then on top of that, there are things like desktop environments, and the desktop environment is the look and feel of the system itself. So in this particular case, I am running right now a Linux distribution called Solus, run by the Solus project. Ike Doherty is the lead on that, and there's a bunch of different desktop environments. In this case, I'm running a desktop environment called Plasma. Now, each distribution makes its own rules in terms of when do I update? What package manager do I use? There's a lot of flexibility that you can use with each distribution, and the big ones are Ubuntu, which is the most popular desktop environment. Ubuntu, in turn, is based on something called Debian. So Debian is also very big, and in a way, Ubuntu, Elementary OS, and a bunch of other ones are all I guess their legacy is the Debian stable environment. So you've got Debian, you've got Ubuntu and all of its variants, you've got Fedora, which is run by Red Hat, and then you've got Arch Linux. Arch is very popular among the Linux hipster set because it is the most bleeding edge. And in order to really use it, you got to know your stuff, okay? Arch is not a beginner-friendly distribution, but what it does do is it gives you access to the latest kernel, the latest builds, whatever you want that can possibly and likely will destroy your machine is available for you on the bleedingest edge of edges. Now, one of the variants of Arch is Manjaro, and what they've tried to do with the Manjaro project. One of the reasons that I decided to give it another shot. Let's put it up on here now. Manjaro Linux. One of the reasons I decided to give it a shot is Manjaro is kind of like the beginner arch, if there were such a thing, because it's still, pretty bleeding edge. But what they've done in here is they've basically made it a little bit more accessible for people that are not, bleeding edge Linux users. And so, in as much it's a rolling release, what that means is that it updates the kernel and the other core components on an ongoing basis. Something like Ubuntu, for example, updates basically twice a year. Debian probably even less than that. And if you value stability, you want to go with something that updates more slowly, because every time there's an update, if you're familiar with the Microsoft world, things can break. So a rolling release can have problems with stability. But you know what? If you want the latest stuff, that's what you want to do. So I was getting a little frustrated with Solus because they are not. Solus has their own proprietary, well, not their own package manager called EOPKG, and they decide through the project what to package, and they value stability even though it too is a rolling release. So if we go over here to Solus project, this is a rolling release like Manjaro, but unlike Manjaro, what they do on the Solus project is that they are very careful with stability. So while they update the kernel and the apps and a lot of other things on an ongoing, continuous basis like Manjaro, they do not update things that they believe will affect stability. Like, for example, proprietary drivers. The Solus project is using an older NVIDIA driver right now, 390 dot whatever. And the reason for that is they have tested the new driver, the 396 driver, and they're having some problems with stability. So they've basically decided we're not going to go. We've tried that. It had problems. We're rolling back to 390. That's the driver for the NVIDIA GPU, if you have that, for our platform. And then other things like, for example, I use Lutris, which is my go-to game launcher. And Lutris has been updating quite extensively as they've implemented DXVK and a number of other things that have allowed for a greater level of compatibility between Windows and Linux. And they update on Fridays. So if there's an update for Lutris on Tuesday, you got to wait until Friday. That's just the way that they do it. And they frankly do not apologize for it. But if you're waiting and there's some stuff and you're excited about this and you want to try the new driver and things aren't working with the old driver and you want to try a new the new version of something that came out, whether it's Lutris or something else, you gotta wait. And sometimes I can't wait. So I said, okay, let's give Manjaro a shot. Loaded up Manjaro. I chose the plasma environment there as well. So for all intents and purposes, it looked pretty similar to this with a different background wallpaper. And it was pretty good. I mean, I have no problems with it. It worked nicely. I updated to the most bleeding edge kernel that they had, which was 4.17.2, I believe, and then updated happily to the 396 driver for my NVIDIA. I upgraded to 4.18 of Lutris, and I started basically moving things around. And 2 or 3 or 4 days later, things were glitchy, and that's the stability issue again that you run into with all of these distributions, and the pros and the cons of basically having your choice between stability and the bleeding edge stuff. So the most annoying thing was that, you know, there tended to be a bit of a tick, let's say, where the system would just freeze for a couple of seconds, just freeze. And it's not clear to me what was causing it to freeze or what was going on. I ended up rolling back the kernel. I ended up rolling back the driver. And then what did I find myself after that? After rolling back the kernel and the driver, I found that I was running basically Solus. I mean, that's what Solus didn't want to upgrade to those for a number of reasons. And the worst part of it is that damn glitch was still there. It was still there. And you know, some of the dependencies that I'm used to having in Solus were not there. I was spending more time being a bit of a sysadmin than I was just using the computer. So I basically decided that I was going to move back to Solus. And as you can see here, you know, they did eventually upgrade to 4.18. So kind of my reasoning went away, and I came back to Solus, got rid of my Manjaro distribution, and you know what, I'm going to stick with Solus. If you're, you know, distro hopping out there, and I know it's a popular pastime, I can tell you from my own experience, I've tried them all. And I try them all over and over and over again. Because that's, you know, kind of what I do. I've got 2 hard drives in my system. You can see I was looking at it just a while ago. Where there's the file manager up here. I've got 2 hard drives, so most of my big data, most of my data is on the secondary drive, which I call games. And you can see there's 1.5 gigs on there. On this drive, I've got, you know, kind of other files, some of which I would have to download again, like my Dropbox folder and so forth. But, you know, the really kind of core stuff is my Steam library, and I've just got that on a second drive. So when I install a new distribution, I'm up and running relatively quickly. But, you know, I tried the Ubuntu stuff, and now I've gone and given Arch through Manjaro a shot. The only one I haven't really tried is Fedora. Or have I? I'm trying to remember. I think I did run. There was a Fedora. I think there's a gaming edition I gave a shot. I don't know. Long and the short of it is, I'm not distro hopping anymore. I'm going to stick with Solus. You know, the good thing about Solus is that it is, first of all, it is noob friendly. So if you use, you know, Windows or Mac, I guess those are the 2 other main operating systems. If you use either one of those and you want to check out or test out Linux, this is the one to do it with. It's got a terrific little software center that gets you started. You know, it basically is easy to use. It gives you access to a bunch of the key components and software, office software, as you can see here. There's a games area. It's probably the best gaming distribution. It comes embedded with game mode, Linux Steam integration, Linux driver management, and bottom line is it just works. And I think, you know, I'm kind of maybe repeating myself here, but it just works. And they've got a number of different desktop environments that you can use. Again, I probably would not go with Plasma. So, you know, it's only available to the Patreons anyway. You probably should consider, if you're going to go with it, giving them a few bucks a month. You know, to support the project. But I would go with the Budgie distribution right here. with the desktop environment, use that. If you're coming from Ubuntu, you might want to try the GNOME environment. They've also got a Mate environment, which is for lower end PCs. But give it a shot. I'm going to stick here with Solus for the time being. I've tried everything else, and I'm kind of back home again right now. Let's start the show right after this. And welcome back to Mostly Linux on Mostly Gaming, as we're just going to jump right into our news feeds here and see what's been going on this week. Topic number one is the Overwatch League. I don't know if anybody out there cares about Overwatch, but I have been thoroughly enjoying this first season of the Overwatch League. And they've done, I've got to give it to Blizzard, they have done an outstanding job of converting this game into a sport. They have put together an international roster of city-based teams. They've played through 40 games now. At least most of them have played through 40 games across 4 stages. And they're set to go into the playoffs. And just want to spend a little bit of time here talking about this because it has been so much fun to watch. Now, there's 12 teams in the league. For those of you that are trying to figure it out, there's 2 divisions. There's Atlantic and Pacific. And so they finished through 40 games right now. At least most of them have. If I take a look here, they seem to have... Okay, so let's take a look at the overall standings. Well, this is standings. Right. Stage 4 league. Okay, I think I got it now. So you can see over here, there's 40 games. Some of them have only played 39. The final 4 games are going to be played tonight, and that will determine the playoff roster. And in the playoffs, what they do is they take the top team from the Atlantic Division, which is the New York Excelsior, which has just had an unbelievable run. They're 34-6. And then the top team in the Pacific Division also automatically makes the playoffs. That is the Los Angeles Valiant, which has been on a tear recently. They're 27-13. So you can see quite a bit behind New York, but they also do get a bye. You can see they're in the Pacific Division. And then it's the next 4 teams, which right now would be the Boston Uprising. It seems like they're going to make it for sure, because whether they win or lose, it looks like they're going to basically be in. Is there any chance they can't get in? Let me just take a look. So Boston, Los Angeles, London, and Philadelphia. Philadelphia is at 23-16. So Boston is definitely in. If they lose their next game, they're going to be 25-15, which is still better than Philadelphia is right now. So they will be in for sure. And then you've got Los Angeles, London, Philadelphia. No, that is the roster. Houston cannot make it. They've already been eliminated. So basically, that's your top 6 teams. They're going to have basically a playoff format for the championship, which is going to be played at Barclays Arena in New York City. Completely sold out. Absolutely completely sold out. The 6 teams, the top finisher is going to be basically going to get a bye, and then the remaining 4 slots are filled by the next 4 teams. They're going to play it out in a format, and then you're going to have the championship, which is likely going to go to New York. I'd like to see Boston actually do well. And I like Los Angeles too. I mean, those would probably be my 3 favorite teams. My absolute favorite team is the Houston Outlaws, which just have the most outstanding logo. I mean, just take a look at the logo if you have a chance. In fact, let me Let me just take a look over here. I'll show you the logo. It is such a gorgeous logo. The people that design the logos for the league are the people that design the characters for Overwatch. So they clearly have some skill. Houston Outlaws. Let's take a look at the image. Okay, there it is. Is there a bigger image? Let me see if I can get it. Is there like a nice 1080p image? I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, so I think this will give us a nice view of the logo. No, it doesn't. All right, forget it. You can see it right here. So do you see it? Do you see the logo? It's just basically like an ox head or a bull's head, I think what it is what it is. You know, you can see the horns there and so forth. There's a star at the top. It's the Outlaws. But if you take a closer look at it, and this is, you know, kind of the key, because some people don't see it and many people do, but if you don't see it, if you take a closer look, the skull are two guns. And of course, one of the characters in the game is called the Gunslinger. They're the Outlaws. It's Houston. It's two guns. Just brilliantly put together to make the head of the bull, and then, you know, a little touch of green with a star to basically represent Houston. It's such a smart logo, and that logo alone has made me a fan of the team. And you know, that's really all it takes in the first seasons. But in any case, you know, I don't want to belabor the point if you're not interested in Overwatch. But look, the playoffs are starting. The final round is the final games begin 4 p.m. I believe tonight. That is all times in your local time. No, I guess take a look. Today, so it's 4 p.m. That's Eastern. Philadelphia and London, and then Shanghai and San Francisco, Boston and Florida. So those are the last games, and then we're going to go basically next week. We begin the playoffs. Here's something kind of cool to watch. Shanghai is 0-39 for crying out loud. 0-39. They have not won a game all season. They have lost 39 games in a row. There has never been a worse record for any team in professional sports ever. 0-39. No kind of record of failure could ever really beat that. But they become, you know, kind of like the bad news bears of sports, and there are people that are actually you're just cheering for them, like myself. I like to watch those games because, God, I would love to see them win a game, especially the 40th game. Now, fortunately for them, they're playing the San Francisco Shock, which is also not a very good team. If we take a look at the standings, we can see that the San Francisco Shock, let's take a look at the league standings. San Francisco Shock is 16-23. Not the best record. 16-23. They're below 500. 9th place in a 12th place league. Now, clearly much better than Shanghai. And Shanghai recently has been playing a little bit better. They came close to beating Florida Mayhem last weekend, and that was very exciting. And Florida's also got a record of a woeful record, let's say. But I am going to watch that. That's 6 o'clock. That's on Saturday. You'll be listening to this on Sunday, so we will know at that time whether they have won. I'll be on the chat if you're in the chat with me, and we can kind of take it up right there. So go Shanghai, Overwatch League. Give it a shot. Look, if you are into video games and you want to see some competitive stuff, there is no better league. Even if you prefer a different game, if you prefer League of Legends or Dota or whatever, you know, those are valid, terrific games. But this is the best league. Period. Trust me on that. What else has been going on? Well, the other thing, just, you know, kind of briefly here, is Microsoft apparently what happened is at E3, Phil Spencer, who's the head of the Xbox group, said something interesting. He said that they are working on delivering console quality gaming on any device. And he kind of mentioned the game streaming network that the company's developing. And he's spoken about this before. Now, last week in our show, we mentioned Yves Guillemot from Ubisoft, who said that he believes there's one more console generation, and then we're moving into streaming. I kind of poo-pooed that last week on the basis that I think there's always going to be demand for a local device. It will always be better than streaming, no matter how good streaming gets. And there's going to, if you want the best experience, you're always going to want a local box. Now, if you want a secondary experience for streaming, or if you just want a very, very low cost option, you may decide to go with a streaming solution. But that's my view. What's happened since then in terms of E3 is we see maybe Eve, and I'm no doubt has some inside information here. But not only did Microsoft talk about a streaming future, of course, Sony's already doing that with PlayStation Now. But EA talked about it as well. And so now we've got Ubisoft who talked about it, EA who talked about it, and Microsoft mentioned it again. And Sony is already doing it. So it appears that the industry is moving in that direction. Whether it's going to be successful or not, I don't know. But if you have, if I have, an Xbox console, Xbox One X, Xbox One Next, whatever the next one is, in the main room with my 4K monitor, computer, TV, whatever the case might be, and the other interesting thing that Microsoft mentioned is they want high frame rate, 120 hertz. And of course, AMD has announced that their FreeSync, I believe, is free. Let me just make sure I've got that right. But I think it's FreeSync. FreeSync is the AMD technology for variable rate. Yes, FreeSync for variable rate. Variable rate refreshes on your monitor. So what that does is, if your game is basically, if you're running a game and it's going, at 50 frames and then 62 and then 48, because of just what's on the monitor right now, what happens is if you're trying to run it at 60, it'll usually cut back down, or you'll get a glitchiness on the screen, or it'll force you to run it at 30 to have a stable frame rate, because your monitor can typically run at 30 or at 60 or at 120 or 144 or 75. There's one rate or a range of rates, and it's got to go from one to the other. It can't do, for example, 48 frames. And what a FreeSync, AMD's technology FreeSync, does is it'll run at any frame rate. So it'll go from 48 to 62 to 85 to 61 to whatever the number is at that particular point in time. And of course, that allows for much smoother gameplay. So AMD has announced that they're going to be putting in their FreeSync technology into television monitors. And Microsoft has announced that they will be supporting high frame rates, HDR, and all the other really good things, 4K. And my sense is that there's going to be some kind of a package where you run your Xbox on a FreeSync monitor, and that's the best experience. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly comes out of that. But going back to the streaming, if you have a box on your main thing and you have a second streaming box, which is already, Valve has already done that as well with the Steam Link. If the latency is low enough and your internet speed can handle it, and you don't have any bandwidth caps, that's probably not a bad idea. Anyway, it appears that 2020 is the year for the next Xbox console. I suspect that we're going to see a refresh from PlayStation, from Sony at the same time. Who knows about Nintendo? I've given up trying to figure out what those guys are doing. I'm going to take a break here. We're about halfway through the news feeds. Let's take a break and I'll be back in 10 seconds. And we're back. Let's take a look. Oh, here's an unusual story here that I found. There was we have it here. Okay, this came out of Electronic Arts, and EA announced Battlefield 5 a while ago. Not at E3, although they showed it at E3 as well. But the week before, they announced Battlefield 5. They had a terrific trailer. And as you can see, the trailer here, the picture here is of a woman in World War II. And they apparently are going to, well, they're not going to prominently feature women. It's just that the trailer features a woman, and it looks like the box cover is going to feature a woman. And to be honest, I can't see anybody. You can argue historical accuracy there. Certainly women were not out there as much in terms of shooting guns and killing people. They had many other roles, probably chief among them manufacturing things for the effort, which without them the economies would have fallen apart, and there wouldn't have been well, maybe there would have been a good thing, because there wouldn't have been a war on either side. If they couldn't build the stuff that the women were building while the men were out fighting. But there were some women that fought in it as well, and there were certainly covert action spies, but that's neither here nor there. What happened is, as usually comes up, there were some people that basically said, well, this is not true to reality. There are women shooting things. I'm making up some kind of internet troll there. And so there was mixed, small, isolated complaints about the historical accuracy. Not even necessarily from like a misogynistic anti-woman perspective, just noting the lack of historical accuracy. And so EA, of course, being the scumbaggish company that they are, the world's most hated company, decided to do a combination of virtue signaling and kind of trolling to basically get attention to themselves as being, above it all, as being some kind of a superior corporate entity, as if this decision was not planned out by some marketing person, against some feedback and focus group testing that they probably did over the period of 36 hours before they came out. It's all so freaking planned. So they basically came out and they said, accept it or don't buy the game, on the backlash against women in Battlefield 5. Now, the reality is, as far as I can tell, and as far as I've been able to look and search and discover, any backlash, first of all, I can't really find any backlash. But if there were, it is so isolated as to be immaterial. So though there is no backlash, they came out to basically say that on the backlash against women in Battlefield 5, accept it or don't buy the game. Now, the other thing we do know about the media, the internet press, sorry, not the internet press, but the internet press for the video gaming industry, and probably for every other industry as well, is that they are incredibly liberal. And that is just fodder. EA understands their market very well. Positioning EA against these misogynistic alt-right, whoever, right? These people might be Trump supporters maybe is probably a big part of it, because I doubt any of these journalists voted for Trump. I don't really care one way or the other, but that's the mentality I think that they have. And so of course that became a huge story. Here's a search. I just did a search here for EA Gamer Backlash. This is for the last week, and story after story. Backlash against women in Battlefield 5 is not okay. EA, that's PC Gamer. EA on the Battlefield 5 backlash. Accept it or don't buy the game. And then on and on and on. You've got videos, you've got stories, you've got, I don't know how many things you've got here. Women in Battlefield 5, accept it, EA says, or don't buy the game. What an amazing corporation you are, Electronic Arts. I will buy the game just because you are so noble. Probably not. Look, it's nonsense. This is manufactured nonsense driven by EA's marketing department. There was no backlash. To the extent that there was, it was so minor as to be irrelevant. Okay? Somebody, and I know, trust me, I know, I've been there, I know how these things work. Somebody in a marketing meeting noted, some kind of, whisperings out there, and basically jumped all over it, knowing that these liberal progressive media guys are going to just lap it up, and it worked tremendously. Touche, EA, touche. You're working these guys like a pro. Unfortunately, you have proven yourself over and over again to be largely incompetent in terms of your messaging, from your messaging to your actual users, but man, you know how to message to the media. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. I found that very annoying, but it was so clearly BS. I've got here the next thing. I'm going to go to the Librem 5 before I go to Courtney Hadwin. Librem 5 came up with an update this week. For those of you that are not aware, Librem 5 is a new security-focused phone, privacy and security-focused phone by Purism. Let me play the promo spot here for you.
We believe phones should not track you, nor exploit your digital life. We are in the middle of a digital rights revolution, where you get to decide the future. We at Purism are building a phone that does not run Android nor iOS, but runs Pure OS, or any GNU Linux distribution, where all the source code is available. Our phone will not wholesale gobble up your data for profit. It will not lock you into an ecosystem that controls you. It will not require you to enter banking details to simply get an app from an app store. Our phone will be built to protect you by default. It will never exploit you for profit. It will be a phone for the people, by the people. We know how to build products that are convenient, privacy protecting, and security focused. Our phone will give you peace of mind knowing it does not track you.
So that's the that's the kind of promo spot. They basically launched that, and then they launched a Kickstarter-like promotion, I would say, but not on Kickstarter. They did it, I think, through their own webpage here. It was an all or nothing $1.5 million funding, and they raised roughly $2.5 million, of which one of those is my own. And to be perfectly blunt, that phone looks kind of ugly to me, and I don't expect it to be the sexiest, highest res, flagship phone alternative to Apple or Samsung or the OnePlus or whatever. But it is going to be a completely open source, security focused, privacy focused, Linux focused phone. And I think that's worth supporting. So many skeptics out there, none more skeptical than the Linux intelligentsia, listening to any of the Linux podcasts on Jupiter Network or some of these other things. I mean, there is no shortage of people just bitching and whining and crying about this project. And they're starting to come around. But I wish these guys the best regardless. I kind of hope for the best and see what happens. Good news is they gave an update here, report number 14 this week. It looks like they're making very, very good progress on both the software, the hardware. You can see their community outreach here. And they say the phone is still on track to launch January of 2019. I'm looking forward to it. Right now, my kind of gut feel is that this is going to be like a backup phone to my normal or typical, stable phone. And if it is better than that, and I can use it permanently, then that's even better. I would love to basically drop my Android and go full on Purism. But it's still available. If you guys want to order, just go to Purism. PURI.SM, and you can still order it. It's $600, and it'll be available in January. Again, $600 is probably not going to get you a phone that $600 spent could get you if you buy, let's say, the OnePlus 6, which is a gorgeous phone as well. It's about the same price. It's going to be lower resolution screen. It's probably not gonna, the specs are not going to be as good. Like, just deal with that. That's the facts of basically doing a production run of a couple of $1 million versus a couple of 100 million or billion. Okay, it just your costs scale to the size downwards. But you get a Freedom phone, and that is the key there. And it's worth supporting. If you can afford it, you might want to do it. If you can't, clearly don't bother. Finally, just in terms of the news thing here, I had to play this. So this is from America's Got Talent. I won't play the whole thing, but it's just the greatest thing I've seen in a while. Check it out.
Hi, my lovely.
Hi.
Welcome to America's Got Talent. How are you?
A little bit nervous.
That's okay to be nervous. That's totally understandable. What's your name?
Courtney.
And how old are you?
13.
13. What's your favourite subject in school?
Music.
What kind of music?
I don't know.
You're very sweet. And I'm guessing you're going to be singing for us?
Yeah.
Listen, don't be nervous. I know this is a big stage and there's lots of people here, but you're here for a reason, so go for it and good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, this little 13-year-old girl. That's Courtney Hadwin, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm probably going to get copyright blocked here on YouTube because of this. YouTube is so much better. She is so good. Of course, she's dating Janis Joplin. This is so good. What a And we're back. Hey, anybody here aware of the fact that we were doing a game giveaway this week? Giveaway. This is our biggest giveaway yet. And what we did is basically said, hey, follow us. Hey, follow us. Come over to our Reddit, r/mostly_Linux, and tell us 2 games that you want to win. And a bunch of you came in and did that. What we're going to do is we're going to pick five people, and the first 3 that confirm back to us that they have seen the message that they've won gets both of their games. It's just our way of giving a little bit back. We're just north of about 150 subscribers on our audio podcast. So let me kind of go through that. If you go to mostly Linux without the underscore. Let's just find it here. Internet, you're going very slowly. There we go. It's mostlylinux.libsyn, libsyn.com. So it's mostlylinux, one word, .libsyn.com. That's our landing page for our audio podcast at mostly_Linux on mostly_gaming. And you can subscribe to this via the RSS feed. Apple Podcasts, there's a little button here for you. Stitcher, Google Play, there's a couple of other options here as well. So, in fact, stop what you're doing and go and subscribe right now. Let's get these numbers up to as high as possible. Whatever you like. Again, Google, Stitcher, Apple, RSS feed for Dogcatcher and a number of other podcasts, Feedly and so forth, that'll connect over to it. It's also available on Spotify, though their podcast service is just so complex, I've never been able to find it there. And so we're up over 150 subscribers, which is terrific for a show that is 12 weeks old. And for most of that has been in a beta. In fact, we're going to be perpetually in a beta. We're never coming out of beta. So we wanted to give a little something back. And so we basically said, give us, come over to our subreddit. We've got 26 subscribers. I'd love to get that up to 100. Let's build a community over here of reasonable, tolerant, cool people, game on Linux and other things, and who can play together on various stuff. So come on over, give us your 2 games, and we'll pick 5. First 3 that respond will get the games. I will buy them and I will deliver them to you via Reddit here. So what I would do is basically, click your thing here, your username, and send you a message basically saying, hey, you won. After you confirm, you have to confirm first. I'm going to pick 5, first 3 to confirm. The order that I'm going to announce the names is going to be here on, if you're listening to this on Twitch live, Sunday morning. I'm recording this on Saturday, but on Sunday morning, this goes live 9:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I'm going to announce the 5 names there first. If 3 of you are on the stream, you win. I don't have to go anywhere else. So a good reason for you guys to be on the chat stream right now. I'm on the chat stream right now as well. My future self is there right now, typing it in too. So I'll be able to see you and verify you right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop on over to Twitter. No, let's not do that. I'm going to pop over here to the Reddit, to the subreddit, and I'm going to basically put the 5 winners here. And then I'm going to do it on Twitter, and then I'm going to do it on YouTube. So that's the order, okay? I'm going to go Twitch, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube. As I mentioned in the rules here, you have an advantage if you follow us on all of those, so that if you miss it one place, you can miss it somewhere else. So the first 3 that get back to me will be the winners. So I have those winners right now. What I did was I put together a random number generator and ran it. There was only 18 entrants. So good odds for you to basically put it through. I mean, there's, our subreddit, I basically put the contest through our subreddit mostly, and if it just doesn't get that much exposure, some douchebags out there actually were downvoting it. I don't know if any of you guys did that or kind of what I suspect, but it would seem that it was being downvoted so as not to, hit, any broad distribution. But I don't care. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter whether there's 36 or 500 or I would have preferred to have 500. But anyway, 18 is good, but that means your odds are fantastic. And the 5 winners are, I'm going to give them to you right now. The 5 winners are, let me just see where game giveaway finalists. No, not there. Let's do a search. Finalists. There they are. Here's our random number generator right here. So these are the 5 winners. If you are on the chat right now, you can confirm, and if you're one of the first 3, you have won. I'm only going to use Reddit usernames here. So these are your Reddit usernames. Winner number 1, or finalist number 1, is LimpYam, user LimpYam. His 2 choices, his or her, I'm not really sure the gender here. I'm going to assume masculine for the sake of ease here. LimpYam, Shadow of Mordor / Stardew Valley are his 2 choices. Number 2 is socially_inept69, you dirty boy. He wants Heroes of Hammerwatch and Risk of Rain. Marcus_Mun, Moonlighter, Oxygen Not Included. Must Be Sniping is the 4th winner. Must Be Sniping, Rimworld and Superfire Pro Wrestling. And finally, head_scratchinista. I'm gonna pronounce that way. Head_scratchinista. I like that. That's kind of cute. Head_scratchinista. Head_scratchinista. Surviving Mars / Divinity Original Sin 2. Great games, by the way. Those are the 5 finalists. I am going to, in fact, future Adam, go right now and copy these and put them onto the subreddit. Go ahead and do it. I don't know how long it's going to take you, but I can't wait. We got a podcast to run. And then copy these and put them right now on Twitter. And then copy these and put them on YouTube. Hopefully they're all out there. First 3 that come back, you've won your games. Congratulations to you. It's been an honor running this podcast so far. 12 episodes, 150 subscribers. I mean, it's... it's not the millions that other people get, but I'll take it. It's fun, This is not how I earn a living. I don't have a Patreon. I don't do this to make money or even cover my overhead. I do this because I enjoy it. It's my creative outlet, and it is an honor to have somebody on the other side listening, because I do it even if I had an audience of none. Good luck. I'll be back right after this with our Discovery Queue. Right, we're back here on Mostly Linux, on Mostly Gaming. Let's take a look and see if there was anything new that came out this week. It's not the, E3 is not a great week to release games because everybody's focusing on the great, whatever, AAA, highly marketed games that are coming out. And you know who's looking for new games, but there was a few here for us, and I'm going to focus on just a few of them. One being this one right here called Kogent Defender, available on Linux, Windows, and Mac. 15 bucks roughly. Let's take a quick look here at the trailer and see what the heck this is for 15 bucks. Cogent Defender enlists you to protect your home world from an encroaching enemy known as the Vertera. Under the command of the Cogent Mind, you will take on the alien infestation and work to eliminate it completely. No user reviews. It was released June 15th. Maybe that's too loud there. June 15th by Amethyst Quarter. And it's unquestionably not done well. It's got no user reviews. It was released right in the middle of, I guess just yesterday in the middle of E3. But you know what? It looks interesting. I can't really figure out exactly. Oh, it's a twin stick. It's a twin stick dual weapon wielding action. Probably not for me. I'm not a twin stick shooter guy, but it looks interesting. Anything else? RECOG, the first wave. They are gutsy, coming out with a $26 price for their game. Take a quick look. This was also released just yesterday, June 15th. No reviews yet. RECOG, the game, is truly challenging and strategically entertaining. Build and defend your industry from an enemy who knows you more than you know yourself. Plan each step wisely, or all decisions you make directly impact what's to come. Be prepared, for you are now entering the RECOG. RECOG, the first wave. Let's take a quick, short look here at their trailer.
We are outmatched. No matter how much they pull us down, no matter how much they destroy, we are merciless. We will rebuild our industry. We will regain our supremacy with the might of natural wonders, feeding our armies with unimaginable power, pushing forward, never backing down. United to take on the RECOGs, never giving up the fight.
All right, I got it. Okay. Looks interesting, I'm going to say, but I'm also going to say that's not for me. Not right now. I'm trying to cut down on the number of games I stick in my wish list. There's a Steam sale coming though, so keep your wish list loaded so that you can easily find the games that you want. Anything else here of interest? Z-Dawn. Let's do Z-Dawn. I don't know what this is about. Let's do one more here in terms of the new games. This also came out June 15th. Z-Dawn. Let's run a trailer. This looks like a zombie thing. The Z infection was spread. The world everyone knew ceased to exist. Lead a group of survivors throughout a zombie apocalypse in an astounding strategic challenge to try to make the best possible decisions. Survive, loot, explore, build, defend, attack. So it's kind of like a hipster, pixely version of these games. Golden God Games. You know what? If this wasn't about zombies, I probably would like it more. It's an early access game. I feel tempted to put it on my wish list because it looks like it might have some deep strategy there, and I like strategy games. I would not buy this though until it comes out. I don't like buying early access games generally. There's a visual novel, a couple of visual novels. That's it. I don't want to belabor the point. So yeah, not a lot of games coming out this week. We have you know, we have all of the things from E3 to look forward to. I'm going to take a look at the best and worst of those in a few minutes here. In terms of what I've been playing, well, unfortunately, I've been playing a lot. Layers of Fear, as an aside here, is an interesting game that was free this week. They decided to give it away for nothing here on Steam. And I saw that available, and I tweeted it out to those of you that saw the tweet and picked it up. It looks like an interesting game. I'm going to definitely give that a shot. But outside of that, really, I've been busy with this big project I've been working on. I hope to be able to give you some details on what the project is in a few weeks. In any case, so not much in the way of new games. Okay, so just I'm gonna rant here for a couple of seconds before I go into the main topic. Right, Pillars of Eternity 2 does not have cloud save. It doesn't have cloud save. How can you have a game, seriously, Obsidian, how can you not have a cloud save option? Like, why would you? It's offered basically right into the Steam platform. So why not incorporate it? So I was about 10 hours into the game, and I say that in the past tense. And when I did my whatever I did, my Manjaroing to my Solusing to my backing, yeah, I've got it saved on my hard drive, my games hard drive. But I think the save files, my God, were on the other drive. So I lost my save. And there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do to get it back. There's no cloud save. Ridiculous. Am I going to go back and go through 10 hours? I would like to say yes, but I know I'm not. I mean, that is the end of my game, unfortunately. If I find the time, I'll go back and play it. I was enjoying it too, but I don't want to go back and do 10 hours again. That's 10 freaking hours. 10 hours. Got to redo, and I'm just not inclined to do that. If I'm wrong and there is some kind of a cloud save somewhere that I forgot to turn on, please let me know so that I can blame myself. But until I confirm that it's my fault, it's Obsidian's fault. 10 hours. 10 hours, that's what I lost, Obsidian. And yes, maybe I shouldn't be distro hopping on non-stop, endless basis. But why is there no cloud save? I didn't lose my Dark Souls Remastered progress. You know why? Because they have cloud save. Now, interestingly enough, Dark Souls does not use the cloud save for any other future. The Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 do not allow cloud save, which is kind of strange, maybe as an anti-cheat thing, but Dark Souls does have cloud save, so I've been able to retain that. In any case, that's my gaming this week. I actually lost back. I'm negative 10 hours of playing this week, but what can you do? Let's look forward and see the games that we're going to be playing, probably through mine, this next year, as the best of E3 2018 comes back right after this.
The Elder Scrolls speak of the past and the future. Now, Skyrim looks to the future, to its ultimate version.
Alexa, play Skyrim.
You're level 57 and see a tall snowy mountain.
Climb it.
Now, Skyrim and life become one.
A mud crab scuttles towards you.
Fusroda!
I didn't catch that.
Fusroda!
I didn't quite catch that.
Fusroda!
Your shout echoes all the way to Sovngarde.
What happened?
Fusroda. That's the command for knocking things over.
Is there a command for picking shit up?
Haven't reached that level yet.
I'm sworn to carry your burdens.
Ooh.
The dragon unleashes fire breath on you.
Okay.
You have 7% health left.
Oh, shit. I drink a health potion.
You are out of health potions.
How many wheels of cheese do I have left?
473.
Okay, I eat all the cheese. I eat all of the cheese. All of it.
Hey, hun. Remember what the doctor said about dairy?
Yes, right, yes, of course. You're the greatest. Thank you so much. I ate all of the cheese.
Introducing Skyrim, very special edition. Also coming soon to Etch-a-Sketch, Motorola Pagers, and your Samsung smart refrigerator.
Isla Noose. Oh, that's cool.
And that's our first look at our top 5 games of E3. This was actually came up at the, this is real, this came up at the Bethesda press conference, and they showed this video about the Skyrim very special edition. And they showed there the Samsung Fridge version and the Etch-a-Sketch version, and I thought that this was actually just a joke. And it's a very funny video. Skyrim very special edition. Skyrim has been released on everything. It's been released on Xbox 360. It was released then on PlayStation 3. Then the special edition on PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Of course, it was on PC both times with both editions there. Nintendo Switch. There's a VR version. It just basically goes on and on in terms of how many times they can re-release this game. And so here they're kind of poking fun at themselves, and they basically released Skyrim Very Special Edition for Alexa. And you know what? It's real. If you have an Alexa and you go to it and you say, Alexa, play Skyrim. Oop, I don't want to say that because if you do have one, it's going to do it. But if you say, play Skyrim, it'll play it, and it works. It's a game. I tried it. It's there. I mean, it's not going to be it's not going to be perfect. It's it's better to play it on your monitor or even your Switch. But the fact that they did this as a joke, poking fun at themselves, but actually went to the effort of creating an app and putting it there for those that basically decided to try it is outstanding. And this is absolutely one of the best of E3s. We're going to pick 5 here, and this is one of the 5. Skyrim Very Special Edition for Alexa. Give it a shot. It's worth kind of, wasting 20 or 30 minutes on it. So kudos to Bethesda. What a kind of smart idea. Let's pick another one. So these are going to be basically our top 5 games out of E3, and no particular order. One of them you can see right there is the Skyrim Very Special Edition. No joke, that is one of my top 5 games from E3. No particular order. The next one I'm going to talk about here is Metro Exodus. Metro Exodus is the Metro series is available on Linux. And has been throughout. Metro is one of the few games, frankly, that runs better on Linux than on Windows or Mac. Developers really do a good job of optimizing it, and they've got a terrific engine, a terrific Linux-friendly engine. Developers 4A Games. The publisher is Deep Silver, and this is the third in the sequel. The third in the series, and my understanding is it's the final game. This looks like they've kind of switched it out to maybe more of an open world. The previous 2 games, both of which I've played, are more fixed. So you've got some degrees of freedom, but you have zone by zone, and they're focused on telling a very compelling story, which is based on some novels of a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland in Russia. Let's take a quick look at the trailer. This is very, very exciting.
Peggy 18.
And the skies rained missiles, and the ground burned to ash, and the seas boiled, and people turned into shadows. So let us not fear the heretics at our door. Even with their iron steeds standing before us, stinking of machine oil and shining its heretical light upon us.
Remember, most of the country has been destroyed or occupied. Even those who speak our language might be enemies, by conviction or out of fear.
We will not falter. Let us steel ourselves against them. For this is our hour of glory. Amen.
Let's move out, Artyom.
Showing us all the guns here.
They want blood, they will get it. We'll cross it no matter what those fanatics think.
I'm optimistic because the other two games came out the other day. And while this looks like a clearly superior engine, I hope that they have retained that backward compatibility. And this, you know, this is going to be a first day purchase for me when it comes out. I'm so looking forward to Metro Exodus. Just looks outstanding. Next game is Halo Infinite. I'm a long time Halo fan, going back to the original 2002, I think, Halo, the first one. Combat Evolved, and I've gone through this series. I've played everything in this series: Halo Wars, Reach, everything. I've even read a bunch of the books, and I, along with many others, were so disappointed with both. Actually, I was disappointed with Halo Reach, Halo 4, and Halo 5. All three of those games were very disappointing, to the point now where Halo risks becoming irrelevant, at least as a single player game. They've done some good stuff with the multiplayer, but it looks like Microsoft is rebooting the franchise with the latest game. Take a look. I gotta say, when I was watching this, I kept thinking, what game is this? What game is this? This does not look like a Halo game to me right here. This looks a little bit like Far Cry Primal. Beautifully. The graphics and the rendering and the shadows and the sun, everything is beautiful here. This is clearly a next-gen engine here. This is not the Xbox One X. What is that in the water? That is cool. Grave mine, maybe? This looks real. Kill it. Here's the shot. You can see the warthog on the helmet there. rebranding Halo Infinite. Slipspace is their new engine. Not heard of that before. And then, of course, is that Cortana? Anyway, I mean, it was a great reveal by Microsoft. It clearly is not going to be on Linux, but it will be on Windows 10. So those of you that have a PC that is Windows capable with a graphics card and don't want to go over to the whatever the next Xbox is that runs this, you'll be able to run it on your PC, and that's great. Next one is another Bethesda game, Starfield, which is what I like to refer to as the Elder Scrolls of space. Let's take a quick look. This looks gorgeous too. That is the first completely new IP out of Bethesda since Elder Scrolls? I mean, what else did they do? I mean, they got Fallout, but that wasn't new. That was acquired, and so really this is only the second new IP out of Bethesda. It's called Starfield. That is essentially all that we know about it, that video there, and I expect that it's coming out 2019. Everything that I picked here are games that I think are coming out in 2019. Things like Death Stranding and whatever could be, I mean, God knows when they're coming out, and I don't want to fall in for, my game that is going to come out in 10 years, and I'm going to show it to you now. So Starfield looks outstanding. That has got to be maybe my top game, but not really, because my top game is this game, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice by From Software. Interestingly enough, published by Activision. Blizzard, of course, also does our Overwatch League, Call of Duty, Destiny publisher, and so forth. So an interesting new relationship there for FromSoft. Check out Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I am so looking forward to this game.
So you're awake. Looks like death is not your fate. Just yet. Some time has passed since I found you. Your master still lives. They'll soon make use of his bloodline. The limb you have lost will give way to something more useful. You'll learn to appreciate its worth.
Yeah, that looks amazing to me. But you know, I'm a guy that basically has thousands of hours in each of the Souls games. Each Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne. So you know, clearly I'm a big fan of the FromSoft games. I always find time to play them. The interesting thing here is that this is a reimagining of the it's a complete reimagining of the series. They're not basically stuck to, you know, whatever kind of things that they've had to deal with in the Souls or the Bloodborne systems. So this is more, it looks to me like more of a ninja focused game. It looks like your prosthetic arm there will have different attachments with different powers. This will not have different characters. You can't create your own build, but you can slightly adjust it. Everybody's going to be playing as this character that we have there ahead of us. There's mounted combat. It looks like there's some stealth here. As you can see right here, there's a stealth component, which should be interesting. It's got verticality. You can see that there is jumping involved in parts of it, and it looks like there is, you can see here, there's a bit of a tether that comes out that allows the hero to jump up. Apparently there's going to be secrets not just on the main level, but you know, kind of you got to jump up and around and find the secrets as you normally would, but just basically in 3 dimensions. It looks fantastic. You know, I anything that FromSoft does is an immediate must buy for me. So this does not disappoint me. There's always the whiny babies out there, but I'm not one of them. Okay, let's take a look at a few of the disappointments from E3 this year. Don't want to leave on a bad note, but there were a few. One is basically Death Stranding. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I am so sick and tired of this game and Hideo Kojima and the never-ending weirdness and trolling and BS that is just eaten up by all of these game journalists here because, you know, he's shown some other freakish, weird trailer, you know, about something that just completely does not make any sense. And this trailer looks as boring as it could possibly. It's a dude walking around with a backpack. There's no game mechanic here that we can see. There's no enemy. There's some dialogue. It's a dude walking in a wasteland with some freakish little baby, and you know, some clearly high budget actors involved. But I don't know what this is about, and I have no idea when it's going to come out. It's probably 3 years away. They've been trolling us this game for 2 years now already, and you know, kind of enough is enough. Whatever. I hope it's good. I doubt it. Not for me. Another one here that I was really looking forward to, but it just looks a little disappointing as far as I'm concerned, is Rage 2. I don't know, the gunplay and some of the other stuff just kind of looked a little generic to me. That's the dog. Somebody's put him in my office here, and he wants to get out. Let me just let him out. This is kind of...
Doctor, I'm approaching the Eden Space Center.
Ah, yes. Forgot to say, it might be overrun by bandits. The Goon Squad, to be precise. You must likely slay them first, before pulling down the eco-pod from orbit and securing the untainted...
Here, I mean, look, I like the fact that there is kind of Mad Max-ish, you know, kind of driving stuff. This looks interesting. To me, it was the gunplay. The gunplay, I don't know, it just, it feels to me like it kind of lacks some character, and it feels like I've played this game before, you know, and I don't know. Yeah. be that as it may, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. Last one is Fallout 76, which got a lot of attention here.
It's great to see everybody again.
Okay, let's take a look at the trailer. Now, Fallout 76 is an online game, more akin, it seems to me, to something like Rust. And it takes place, it's a prequel that takes place 20 years after the nuclear apocalypse. And you're basically coming out and you're basically building your base. It appears that you're going to have a group that you can play with. You're going to be on a server. I hear that there's going to be 12 people on each server. And you could nuke each other. There's going to be nuclear weapons that you can find. And you can basically target other people and blow them up. Look, I'm not a big fan of games like Rust, Ark, whatever those survival games are that involve a whole bunch of people getting together to kill other people. It's typically a land for trolls and people that are just basically out there to make your gaming experience as shitty as possible. And while I'm a big fan of Bethesda, a big fan of Fallout, even, that's not what I'm looking for out of Bethesda. It's a little disappointing that there is no new Bethesda game this year other than this. This, from what I understand, was a reworked version of a multiplayer mode that they did not add to Fallout 4. So they just basically repackaged it and put it out here to cash in. You got to basically feed the burn every year. So that's what they're doing. The first real game is going to be next year with the space game, and then I'm guessing Elder Scrolls 6 is probably 2 or 3 years away. Probably 3, I'm going to guess. Which was also revealed at the Bethesda conference, but being an indeterminate period of years away, maybe more than 3. My understanding is they basically said as much as this is just basically in the pre-production stage. In other words, they're still trying to figure it out, and they gave us a bit of a look at something, but it's not in game, it's not engine, and it's not working. So it could be 5 years away for all we know. But if Starfield is good, that'll tide me over. Fallout 76 will not. I'll be right back after this with some closing thoughts. And we're back, and that's a wrap for episode 0.12 of Mostly Linux on Mostly Gaming. Congratulations to our 5 finalists. If the 3 of you weren't in on this live chat and didn't confirm, then you've still got time. Check out Reddit, check out YouTube, check out Twitter. On Twitter, we're mostly at mostly_Linux. On YouTube, you can just search for Mostly Linux on YouTube and you'll find our feed there. And on Twitch, we're twitch.tv/mostlylinux. And finally, what did I forget? That audio. mostlylinux.libsyn.com. Go to that. You can subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, whatever else you want to basically subscribe through. Please subscribe, please follow us. We're trying to build this thing, and every little bit helps. We'd like to have a bigger audience to basically broadcast this beta podcast perpetually. I guess that's it. We'll see you next week. Take care.